Got all the parts for the gear shifter. Put those in the parts cleaner, cleaned them all up. You can kind of see the linkages going to the transmission over here. And then there's inside we've got the spring, and then the gear shift mechanism, the rod that goes up. And you've got the ball that screws on the top of that. And then there's a spacer and this other gear. And then I just went and got a roll pin. I'll have to cut that off a little bit and punch that roll pin in there, and then we can put that back together, and that'll be ready when the car comes back from the body shop. Not sure what this transformer switch is. I have to find out, but this piece was rattling around inside there. It's like the pop rivets just gave out. You see the little pieces just came off, so maybe it's as simple as just put a couple pop rivets back through there. See if I can get this guy repaired. I replaced the rivets on this. These two had fallen out, so we've got that piece in there now. And then also this one, I dropped this thing from just a couple inches, and then this fuse holder fell out. So I've got new rivets, insulators in there. Right now I've got the test leads going through the coil. You can see we got 227 ohms, so the coil's got connection. And then if we move these over to the signal circuit, so now I've switched them over to these other two, and then when we close this, we should get continuity. Yep. And I may not have a great connection on here. Seeing the resistance was just a little high. Double check those connections. There we go. Yeah, I just didn't have them clamped on there very good. So looks like we got the overdrive relay working good now. And sure enough, as I was hammering putting this together, these other two that I pointed to that were sketchy came loose, and I heard this rattling. I did the check, it failed the check, so took it back apart, and I'm going to replace those rivets now. Okay, final check. Just doing a bench test with the 6-volt battery. I got the leads going across the the actual switch, and then I've got the positive earth ground. If I touch this wire here to complete the circuit, it should close the switch and give me like no resistance. And sure enough, when I touch the battery, it closes the circuit. You can hear it click, and the overdrive circuit's working great. Okay, I'm working on the horn. It's got dual horns. There's a cover, and you can pry this cover off. There's just some little tabs. You can see the tabs right there. So if you kind of pry those out, you can get the cover off. So on this one, I've got the cover off. And then there's some points. You can see it right there that have to be clean. And then also what I've discovered is I cleaned the points and I still didn't get any horn sound. And I had to adjust this lock nut, loosen it, and slowly turn that nut underneath of that to finally get it to make some noise. So now we can... So now we've got it adjusted correctly, but it took me maybe 5 or 6 tries of slowly moving the large nut up or down to get the spacing. The contact should be closed initially, and it vibrates up and down real fast, and you got to have that just super critical to make it vibrate. Okay, so we got the, I think it's the left one. I think there's an L on here. Yeah, that's the one that I just made some sound with. And I took the right one off. This one's looking rough. We'll see what kind of luck we have getting this one going. Let's see if there's an R on this. I see an H, so. Even though this one looks rough, cleaned it all up. Unfortunately, the little set nut on the top of that, that post broke off. That was so rusted. And I've got it adjusted where it works. So I might have to just tack a small weld on there to hold that bolt in place. But the thing works, even though it looks rough. We'll go ahead and weld that nut on there and we should be good. Okay, I got both horns working, and now we'll put them together because there's a high and a low, a left and a right, and we'll see what they sound like together. So, sounds pretty good. I think that's going to work. And the one last thing to do on this one, I got the head also broke off on the screw that goes to the outside to activate the horn. So you can see there the head's broke off, so I got to drill that out, retap that, and then we'll put it together, blast them, paint them up, and should be good to go. Got the horns sandblasted and get ready to put some paint on them now. Got the paint on those horns now, looking pretty nice, both functional, so be ready to put those on when the car gets back. Gonna do some other electrical checks on all these dash switches. This is the headlight, and it's also got a nice little variable resistor coil rheostat type thing. This is the lead that would go to the dash lights, and if you wanted to dim the dash lights, we can see if that's working. If we turn this, should get some different resistances. So we're at 6.6, kind of working our way down to 1 or 2 ohms. So yeah, that seems to be working. Okay, we're going to check the switch, incoming power, and then this one has H, which would be the headlight, so you'd have to pull it all the way out. Yep, got continuity there. That's good. And the last check is the A on the board is for the parking lights, and we pull it out 1 notch. Got continuity, so that's good. So if we look real close, you can see the letters on there. A is the parking, H is the headlights, R is the rear lights, and then this is the screw for the dash lights that are on this variable resistor in there that turns and gives you different resistance levels. Next we'll test the high beam switch. Just goes from high beam to low beam, so do one side, that's good, and if I click it, it comes over to the other side. So good high beam switch. Checking the horn relay out. So got this 3-pole switch. The S is for the horn switch, B is for battery, and H is for horn. I've got the switch laying in the same position there, so I've basically got the switch going over to the positive ground, and then I've got the battery cable in my hand, which I'm going to touch it to the negative to see if it works, and then where the red lead is what would go to the horn. So if this works, we should hear a click, and then we should see 6 volts, negative 6 volts on the charger, on the meter. So let's see what we got here. So when we touch this. Yep, we heard a click and we got negative 6.5 volts. So the horn relay is working good. Okay, next is the blower switch. The blower has 2 speeds, so we'll see if we get 2 different resistance. I'm assuming full speed be no resistance and speed slower. So we got about 3 ohms on setting 1 and like 0.6 ohms on setting 2. So maybe 2 ohms. And then close to 1 or less. So it looks like maybe runs a half speed or something in the middle. But the good news is the blower switch is working. I think this is the overdrive switch. It's got a light that's attached to it when you flip it on. And it looks like it's working okay. Okay, and then we have our ignition switch. And I'm assuming this is like a trunk key, this one here. But on the ignition switch, if you turn it backwards, you should get the accessory. So I've got a hook to the accessory. And so, yep, we got continuity. This one's on the battery, so I'm just checking the circuit, make sure it goes. And then if we go forward, this is the ignition circuit. So turn on the ignition. Ignition circuit comes on. And then the last check is the starter signal, that one. And that would be, you know, you turn the key to start. Yep. Spring sticking just a hair, not bad. Put a little bit of oil, there's an oil hole there, so ignition switch is good.